Do you know which two British royal family members were alleged to have commented on Harry and Meghan's child's skin tone? Well, it was the same two that announced that they were ill. Flashback Friday, and we understand now, more than ever, why Harry and Meghan chose to have their child's very first holiday season, Thanksgiving and Christmas, in the Commonwealth country of Canada versus with the British royal family at Sandringham. At this point, Harry and Meghan had received 2 years' worth of constant, toxic tabloid attacks, thanks in part to some of the British royal family members' secret briefings. So when they returned from their holiday in Canada, one of the first places they went was to Canada House to thank them for the hospitality that the Canadian people had given them during that holiday. And then the very next day, after the visit, they shared with us a message on Instagram, which then was their only means of communication with the public. Their message says, Wednesday, 8th of January 2020, after many months of reflection and internal discussions, we have chosen to make a transition this year in starting to carve out a progressive new role within this institution. We intend to step back as senior members of the royal family and work to become financially independent while continuing to fully support Her Majesty the Queen. It is with your encouragement, particularly of the last few years, that we feel prepared to make this adjustment. We now plan to balance our time between the United Kingdom and North America, continuing to honor our duty to the Queen, the Commonwealth, and our patronages. This geographic balance will enable us to raise our son with an appreciation for the royal tradition into which he was born, while also providing our family with the space to focus on the next chapter, including the launch of our new charitable entity. We look forward to sharing the full details of this exciting next step in due course as we continue to collaborate with Her Majesty the Queen, the Prince of Wales, the Duke of Cambridge, and all relevant parties. Until then, please accept our deepest thanks for your continued support. And then in typical fashion, Buckingham Palace is very reactive. Right here is a short message that they put out the same day. Discussions with the Duke and Duchess of Sussex are at an early stage. Thankfully, the Queen was forthright in a very clear message after the palaces had decided that the half-in, half-out compromise wasn't going to work for them. The Queen of England says, published the 18th of January 2020, following many months of conversation and more recent discussions, I am pleased that together we found a constructive and supportive way forward for my grandson and his family. Harry, Meghan, and Archie will always be much loved members of my family. I recognize the challenges that they have experienced as a result of intense scrutiny over the past 2 years and support their wish for a more independent life. I want to thank them for all their dedicated work across the country, the Commonwealth, and beyond, and I'm particularly proud of how Meghan has so quickly become one of the family. It is my whole family's hope that today's agreement allows them to start building a happy and peaceful new life. So, of course, Buckingham Palace is reactive again, and they put out a very snarky, in my opinion, message I'll read in part. As agreed in this new arrangement, they, Harry and Meghan, understand that they are required to step back from royal duties, including official military appointments. They will no longer receive public funds for royal duties. Further, it says the Sussexes will not use their HRH titles as they are no longer working members of the royal family. They never shared the additional fact that Harry and Meghan offered to relinquish the title Sussex. A couple more points from their message here. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex have shared their wish to repay the sovereign grant expenditure for the refurbishment of Frogmore Cottage, which will remain their UK home. They did that, right? They repaid over $2 million that had been spent to refurbish that home because they wanted to retain that space on very protected grounds for their family. But then, after Harry's memoir, Spare, dropped, Prince Charles chose to be cruel and petty once again and took back the Queen of England's wedding gift from them, which, by the way, Chuck has written a memoir sharing the truth about his own family as well. It wraps up by saying Buckingham Palace does not comment on the details of security arrangements. There are well-established independent processes to determine the need for publicly funded security. Security was one of the ways that they were trying to get them to come back into the fold. Anyway, aren't we thankful that not only is service universal, but also true love wins?